Hi, welcome to LITEHAWK. This is Tom, and I'm here today to discuss our new four-wheel drive, smaller scale, what we call backpack size RC series. It's called XS, the XS series. There's three models in the lineup. We've got the Overdrive XS, the Blast XS, and then the Vixen XS. So all three of these are new for fall holiday 2022. So in these series of videos that we're going to shoot, we're going to kind of show you maintenance tips, tricks, as well as how to kind of change components. These vehicles all achieve speeds of 40 kilometers per hour, 25 miles per hour, and that's really fast. And if you start crashing this stuff, or if you want to do some of the epic moves we do in some of our videos, skateboard parks, pump tracks, you want to attack these types of situations, you're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen. I mean, not everyone just starts off knowing how to do backflips with an RC car. So we're going to show how to replace those components, how to deal with them, and this series is going to be broken over different things, and you'll see the titles, whether it's a steering servo, motor, wheels and tires, suspension. It'll be a bunch. So we're going to dive deep into this, and the first thing we're going to talk about is being ready to work on our car, and the first things we're going to have to get in place before we even start taking things apart. So hope you enjoy the series. With the magic of film, I'm going to kind of take these three off the table and come back to you with kind of our first steps. Alright, see, I told you, we're back now. So a few things we're going to need. Number one, before, if you notice, there is no car or truck on this table. We need a nice, flat, clean surface. Hopefully have some good lights above. Don't try to do this in the dark. It's just going to make things worse, and maybe you're going to stick your finger. The other thing we're going to need is some tools to make the job easier. So things I always like to have is a pair of needle nose pliers, a pair of side cutters. This is great for removing any kind of zip ties and things like that, but don't use these to try to cut or metal, of course. And you can get these tools at any kind of place that sells tools and hardware goods. Different types of screwdrivers. There's a Phillips. I've also got a smaller Phillips here, some slot screwdrivers. And just because I have one kicking around, this is a 5.5 millimeter hex wrench, and this is perfect for taking off wheels and tires. But the most important thing of all is, as you can imagine, you have a hard surface. If you've got little screws and things like that coming off the vehicle, they're going to hit the hard surface and bounce, and then you're all over the floor looking for screws. And we get emails from customers, and if you ever do get stuck and need, lost a screw or something like that, we can send them out to you. That's not a big deal. But what I like to do is, but ask mom first, is grab a towel, and I put a towel down, and then when I'm working on it, the screws or anything that falls down hits the towel and it stops and doesn't roll away. The other thing that is really great, if you don't have a towel or all your towels are good and fancy, is grab someone's yoga mat, because the yoga mat also will absorb and cushion anything that's down there. So you may find the mat's too big, but they may not miss if you cut a couple feet off. So again, with the magic of TV, we're going to be set up, and I promise we're going to have a vehicle on here, and then we'll go through the series. Alright guys, we're back. So as you can see, I've got my towel set up. I use a lighter color because most of the screws and things like that are going to be a black or a metallic color anyway. You're definitely not going to want to use shag carpet for this application, so something's just going to stop the bounce. We chose the Blast XS, which majority of the components are the same. There are a few subtle differences between it and the Overdrive and the Vixen XS, but the main stuff like the motor, the tub chassis, the battery holder, the steering servo, electronic speed controller, the center drive shaft, even the differentials are all the same. So this makes it easier to show you all in one video. This is going to have a general overview on the car, and then the next videos will kind of dive deep into the replacement of components. But up front here, we've got a double wishbone suspension with a pivot ball. So you'll notice if you move the suspension arm up and down on your vehicle, you'll actually see the arm pivot inside that ball, encapsulated ball. Really smooth, great system, very lightweight, and also doesn't bind or cause issues there. We also have in the front, we've got a universal drive shaft. So instead of just having a what they call dog bone like we have in the rear, or a drive shaft which can bind and click and get stuck and pop out potentially when the wheels are turned all the way to the left or the right, with the universal we don't have to worry about that. This vehicle does have a full ball bearing drive system, you'll see as we take it apart. Steering servo here with a linkage. This is your battery hold down bar, your motor with the heatsink. There is a metal center drive shaft, you'll see it chrome below, and then your electronic speed controller and receiver as one unit. So from electronic components in the vehicle, we have our motor, our receiver and speed controller combo, and then our steering servo over here on the opposing side. And this layout is great because we really want to balance the left and the right, especially when you're up in the air. It makes it a lot easier to control. If we flip the vehicle over, one of the cool things about this is you'll see these red metal mounts, and what this is here for is there is actually a steel pin that runs through here which holds the arm onto the chassis. And if you're using a plastic component here where you could potentially run into something really hard, that's going to give over time and break down. So this really makes the vehicle a lot more robust. The suspension arms here, a lot of people think, oh, this is just general plastic. It isn't. There's actually a weave, kind of like a fabric that's blown in with the plastic to make it a lot stiffer and stronger. And one of the balances with any radio controlled car is making the arm and the other components strong enough, but you do want to have some flex built in, because if there's no flex at all, then you're going to start breaking things and or bending other components deeper down inside the chassis. So really great setup overall. We've got our motor here, which has a pinion gear, which drives the spur gear, which then drives the center shaft to a front and a rear differential. Very commonplace. Our steering here has a little servo saver, which if you are constantly turning left or right and you hit a hard object, instead of breaking the gear inside the servo, so the servo saver here helps take some of the beating out from the wheels and tires and protect the little gears inside the servo. So that's kind of just a general overview, and we're in the next series of videos you can see whether it's steering servo replacement, electronic speed control replacement, motor gears. We're going to kind of tackle a lot of different sub-assemblies on here and things that you may want to do maintenance wise. So this is at the end of the general overview, and for specific content on the XS series, please click on the videos that populate on your screen.